Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of our Tailormade Talks, the series that we put together to help you guys get to know our staff, our team, our clients a little bit more, on a bit more of a personal level. Today with me, I have the head coach in Bansha, Ricky Lamb. Delighted to have Ricky here today to go through a fairly in-depth conversation so you guys can get to know Ricky on a much more personal level. So Ricky, you're very welcome.
Thank you very
welcome
much
to Tailormade
for
Talks.
having me. Yes, thank you.
First question, how did you come to work at Tailormade?
So I started working in Tailormade at the end of January this year, January 2024. And I came about it, well, I'm from Cashel itself, so I knew about Tailormade for years since I first started up.
Yeah.
And I was working in a gym in Carlow, and it wasn't really working out too well.
What were you doing in the gym in Carlow? It was like an open gym?
Yeah, it was more one-to-one actually, personal training and stuff like that, or 2-to-1 personal training. And it was just nothing was structured. Like I think that you see that with a lot of personal trainers or people working as a coach or anything like that.
Yeah.
There's no real structure here.
Yeah.
And so then I saw that there was a position available in
Did
Bansha.
you see us on Instagram first, or was it Indeed that you saw?
I think I saw it on Indeed first, yeah, and then I reached out to both yourself and Gavin.
Yeah, I remember it.
Just to be like
Sneaky little DM.
Yeah, because I was following both of you since pretty much since I had Instagram, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd say about 2018, 2019. So it was just a matter of just messaging you and see what'll happen. Like, and I met Gavin before years and years ago, back when I was in middle of secondary school and stuff like that. So yeah, no, I reached out, and luckily enough, I went for an interview with Gavin and Chris, and it went really, really well. So
brilliant,
delighted with
straight
that.
in. Just on that, because it's quite interesting, did you have, because you followed me and Gavin for quite a while, you followed the brand for quite a while, did you have like a preconceived idea of what we did before the interview? And a second question is, has that preconceived idea like changed since you actually joined the team?
Yeah, so before I joined, I had an idea of what was happening here with this place, but I didn't think it was as structured. But then I came in and it was very, very structured. Yeah. And to be engaged with Gavin and Chris straight away, like you can see that it was a great setup already. I realized then when I started and when I was chatting to Chris starting off, that it was like a nice little structure, and it was something that I could work around with and stuff like that.
Brilliant.
It wasn't anything negative at all.
No.
I knew that it was somewhere that it was going to be nice and really welcoming from the start.
Okay.
I thought the interview itself was very, very interesting. It was an interview I'd never sort of experienced before.
Because of the practical element, or
no, it was
questioning?
the questioning. It was the questioning. It was questions I hadn't really prepared for at all. It's something that you don't really prepare for, and it's nearly a good thing because you're put on the spot, and you're better off just to say with your chest and say what you really feel.
100%.
And luckily enough, that was what the best person that comes out on the day.
100%.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and I got a good vibe then from that point, because I'd only met Gavin years beforehand and stuff like that, so I didn't really know fully what was the story.
Brilliant. That's interesting, and I think that's interesting for anybody that's watching this, like interviewing for any job or for us. I think we do things a little bit, not off the wall, but a little bit different.
Yeah.
And I think when we're looking for coaches, we always look at the person first.
Yeah.
So like you can prep for an interview in terms of answers for technical stuff.
Yes.
But we really just want to get to know you as the individual. Do we align on values? You know, is it somebody that we like? Can we work with them long term?
Absolutely.
And then the skill set comes second.
Yes.
And I think that's why we're doing this, is we want the audience to get to know you personally as well. So,
absolutely, yeah.
Brilliant. So we'll touch on like some of your personal background. We're going to go through loads of stuff today.
Absolutely.
So really, I want to know, who was Ricky in school? What was your childhood like? Sports, all of that. Start back as far back as you like.
Well, I grew up in Cashel. I've been living in Cashel. I'm the youngest of 6. So
and I actually went to school with your sister,
Yeah,
Angela.
you went to school with Angela. So that just shows and Angela's still only a middle child, so there's such a great gap between the oldest and the youngest. So
what age is your oldest sibling?
So my oldest sibling is 40, and so I'm the youngest then at 24.
Okay, right.
Yeah. Jesus. So there's a big gap between all 6 of us then,
It's a busy house.
It was a busy house. Well, I don't really remember much, but when I was growing up, everyone was kind of nearly at the age of going to college and growing out and stuff like that. So So nowadays they're all living all over Ireland and all over the world at the moment. So it's good now. But as I was growing up, I was very much like, I was a bit of a goody two shoes, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I was terrified to get in trouble. I was terrified. Yeah, I would be under the mindset that I can't. Like, it'd be one of those things I'd be terrified to do anything like that.
So you were always a good student through primary school?
I'd like to think so, yeah. And it was mainly like, oh, you're nearly like a teacher's pet sort of thing.
Okay,
yeah. So it was pretty bad. But now that I'm thinking about it now, yeah, it is pretty bad. But like then, and it was kind of the same in secondary school. Secondary school, you kind of get a bit more relaxed. You kind of find yourself a bit more, and you find your feet.
Okay.
And in terms of that, yeah, no, you kind of put your head down when you're doing studies.
That's interesting. Is that something that like you actively tried to pursue, that goody two shoes, or tried to be like, where did that come from?
I don't know. I think I was just too scared to get in trouble or anything like that. If I got into trouble, the world will end and stuff like that. Now,
and was it particularly strict at home?
No,
or was
not
it just
even,
your own?
like, it was fairly relaxed. I don't know. It was kind of like, because you were growing up with so many siblings, it was actually, you'd think that we were all trying to kill each other or stuff like that. But I think when I was in school or anything like that, it was kind of like I have to just be on my best behavior, have a bit of head on you, like to keep the head, like. But yeah, no, it was a bit weird, like in terms of that. But yeah, that was myself, like in school. In secondary school, as I said, you kind of relax a bit more. You kind of get a bit more used to school life and stuff like that. And yeah, you didn't get in trouble, but you just kept going at it, like and stuff like that. You were just.
And your background is in rugby. When did that start? Or did you play loads of different sports? Did you play GA as well? Did you where did you soccer?
Yeah, so I first started playing soccer. I'd say I was about 6 or 7.
Right. Castletown?
It was Castletown, but I think I played for a year or something like that. It didn't, my brother played soccer, so that's why I was mad into the soccer and stuff like that. No one in the family played rugby at all, and I only started because they were looking for players. I think I was about 9 or so, and they just were advertising it out. So I gave it a go, and I absolutely fell in love with the sport, to be honest. And so that was when I was about 9, and I continued that literally season on season.
Did you drop soccer then? Did you drop other sports?
Yeah, no, I wasn't even playing soccer that stage. So by the time I was 9 or 10, I was literally only playing rugby. I was playing nothing, and then I was playing rugby.
Just rugby?
Yeah, I didn't, I think I went to a cool camp when I was 5 playing the hurling, and sure, Jesus, if you see me now with a hurl, I couldn't hit a ball to save my life. I'm, even though in a town like Cashel as well, you should be able to hurl, but I know hurling wasn't for me, to be honest. Okay. So I stuck with the rugby growing up. Yeah.
Okay. And you're still playing?
Yeah, I'm playing still rugby here. At the moment, so it's handy enough. It's just I took a couple of years, while I was in college and stuff. I was playing with college and stuff like that, and then I was with COVID and stuff like that. I kind of stopped playing then. I weren't really getting much game time anyway, so it's only kind of this season, kind of small bit last season, kind of got back into it. Yeah.
Brilliant. So goody two shoes through primary school, relaxed a little bit through secondary school. Yeah. How were you with doing the leaving cert? Did that go pretty well? And did you know what you wanted to do after it? How did that period go around, 15, 16, 17, 18?
Yeah, so I started the gym at the age of about 14 or 15 in the rugby club.
So rugby was your first introduction to S&C strength training?
One of the seniors that was on the Cashel team put us through, take us a night a week or something like that.
Class.
And it was just a pure introduction to movements and stuff like that, because we're all 14 years of age. We don't even know how to squat yet and stuff like that. So no, that was a really good eye-opener to just see what the gym setting was like and stuff like that. And then you get to the stage where you're 15, 16 and you want to be the biggest man in the world and you want to have the muscles and stuff like that. So that's when I started going to the gym by myself and stuff like that, here in Cashel and stuff like that. And when it got to a stage of towards the leaving certain stuff like that, I kept at the gym, I was kept at the rugby and stuff like that, but I don't know, I was very much a relaxed approach going into the leaving cert. I think I was stressed leading up to it, and then I think I'd say a couple of weeks beforehand I was this is too much now. I kind of just was whatever happens sort of thing. That when I was in the gym at 16, 17, I did want to pursue initially to go into fitness and everything like that.
So like the fitness industry,
yeah,
as a
fitness
coach
industry.
or
something like that. Yeah, absolutely.
So you had that identified at 16, 17?
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
Is brilliant.
And then it became apparent then when I was about in 5th or 6th year that I could do possibly then working with physiotherapy then. So that's where I was kind of putting my eyes towards in 5th and 6th year.
Okay.
And then I did the Leaving Cert, and I knew I was going to go to Carlow pretty much to do sports rehab and athletic therapy. I did that in Carlow for 4 years.
Straight from the Leaving Cert?
Straight from the Leaving Cert. So I just about got enough points for it. Like,
did you?
Yeah.
What was the points?
It was 450, I think.
Jeez,
it was.
You did well.
So yeah, no, I was, so I was delighted with that. But yeah, I kind of knew in the back of my mind, just because the points for physio, like they were about 550. I think they're even more nowadays. Like just because it's sheer popularity now to go off to like UL or something like that to do physiotherapy. So yeah, I went off to Carlow and I studied there, and it was great and stuff like that. I kind of knew that I was going to go into that. I initially had that thought of going in towards a physiotherapy point of view then at that stage.
So after you finished college, you got that job with the other gym. That was the first job?
Yeah,
and then with us?
In Carlow. So I didn't know what to be at, to be honest, after the degree was done and stuff like that. A few people were going on to do masters. A few people were working completely random jobs that have got nothing to do with physiotherapy, like literally completely random jobs. So, and some people stayed in sort of a gym setting altogether. So in my course, it was kind of a mix of both, mainly due to rehab and everything like that, but it also had a mixture of like towards fitness and exercise as well.
Class.
So it was, it was brilliant. Like Carlow was some crack, to be fair. Like it was a spot, like. But after, so when I was in the gym in Carlow, it was grand. It was just a pure introduction. Like it was my first exposure to actually dealing with people constantly on a one-to-one basis, dealing with a class structure.
Yeah.
There's 15, 16 people in front of you and you have to speak out in front of them. You just have to adapt, and that was a bit of an eye-opener again. And luckily enough, it kind of worked out. I found myself finding my feet fairly quickly. And I think that was a great stepping stone to Tailormade. Because I would have been a lot more nervous starting Tailormade then as a result. But when I got in, I was still a bit quiet starting here, but I was a lot more comfortable. I kind of knew what was kind of happening.
That coaching background?
Small bit of just an experience beforehand and stuff like that. And that was for about a year there. So I was happy then to come here, and then I was, I fell into this place fairly happily,
100%. I think that gives a really good insight into like who you were growing up, school. I think that's really good. I'm delighted that you just really went into that. Just one question before we move on to the next section. Did you have any standout challenges through primary school, secondary school, even college that if you were to think back, that was something I overcome, and it was like a growth opportunity? Because I think those things in life are good to share.
Yes.
Is that that stands out? May or may not be.
I'm trying to think about it. I tell you, the most stressed I've ever been in my life was my driving test.
Right, okay.
And I genuinely thought that was the be-all and end-all and stuff like that.
What age were you when you did
I was 18, I was in 6th year.
Right.
And it was madness. I passed it the first time and stuff like that, but I literally thought it was the be-all and end-all. I've never been as more stressed. I had the Leaving Cert a couple months later,
and it wasn't as
bad. It was one of those things that I think it just stands to you. I think everyone takes things a lot too seriously a bit. So I think it's and I think people are really harsh on themselves. Literally, I would think that the worst thing is about to happen, and I think that kind of led towards why I was kind of like a goody two shoes. I was thinking nearly the worst is going to happen. So when you have a moment like that where, geez, it's not as bad in the end, and you have people just say you failed the Leaving Cert or you failed your driving test, it's not the end of the world, sort of thing, because I was genuinely looking at that, and I think that's a growth opportunity. I think that's growth opportunity when it comes to even moving from a gym like Carlow, from a place in Carlow to Tailormade. It's okay to realize that's not what you're doing, that's not what you want to be doing, that's not right. It's okay to say, okay, what I did it wasn't wrong, but it's not the place for me, and now I can move on to a new place.
I think that's really valuable, because everybody can get stressed and bogged down and in their own little bubble. But if you actually just allow time to pass, you look back and laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
Or if you're in it, and I have this sometimes with business that I'm so stressed But a lot of it is just like, if I just pause, take a breath and zoom out,
Yeah.
it's not that bad. Kind of get over yourself in a nice way.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I think that's class, and I think people watching will really resonate with that as
Yeah,
well.
I think
that's good.
I remember hearing a TED talk before, and it was you would say the worst things to yourself, that more worse than what you'd say to your worst enemy. Like,
It's a fact.
It's actually madness. Like the way that we treat ourselves is actually outrageous. Like, so
It's true.
So I think everyone just needs to take a step back, just relax, look at how far you've come
There's,
already.
I think it's Jordan Peterson, 7 Rules, no, what's his book? I can't remember the name of his book, but one of his rules is treat yourself like somebody you're responsible for.
Yes.
And that just reminded me of that quote as well. I think that's a really good thing as well, that like you probably should treat yourself as good as you would to your other half or whoever.
Yeah.
So
like if you had a child or something like that, yeah.
you wouldn't let them talk to themselves like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you wouldn't talk to them like that.
Yeah, 100%. Brilliant. So we'll move on now to your day-to-day role within Tailormade.
Yes.
So you're the head man out in Bansha at the moment.
Yes.
So do you want to just share maybe your journey from February to now?
Yes.
Actually, do you know what we'll do? We'll go straight into your day-to-day role right now. Tell everybody what you do, where you're based, and your progress to date with Tailormade.
Yeah, absolutely. So based in Bansha, it's a small little village sandwiched between Cahir and Tiptown.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a lovely little community, to be fair.
It is.
And so being the head coach there, there's just a lot more responsibilities, especially like going from a junior coach to a head coach role. It is massive in terms of just the amount of responsibilities you have. You're the person that everyone is looking at. You're the person that, if there's ever an issue, you're the person to having to deal with it. And you're the person that needs to come up with a solution or come up with a scenario. And I think it was exciting and kind of scary, like first starting off, but like in terms of with how Gavin was treating me and stuff like that throughout, it kind of helped me kind of settle in a lot more easier. Yeah, absolutely. And like in terms of just progressing throughout the coaching ranks, it was all like I was under the guide of Chris, like who's now in Hurlist and stuff like that, and he just taught me so much, like just on how to develop as a person, just in general, among people. And then when I became head coach now, I was just kind of like taking his philosophy nearly and taking it on, and it was really, really positive then. Of course, I'm only in the role as head coach for, I'd say, about a month now at this stage, so it's still very early doors, like, so, but no, everything has been going all right. It was a bit of a storm to weather and stuff like that, but like they're all growing pains, they're all happening, 100%. Like it's all normal. Like.
And like I think like you're only 24, right? Yeah. But you speak like somebody who's 34, like, and I mean that with like in the best possible way, like. You're wise beyond your years almost. Right. And I think your development over the last 9 months has been very evident in terms of you have this attitude of like, you don't get too stressed, as we spoke about. You take it on the chin, you take feedback, and then you just iterate and improve. Yeah. And like as a coach and now a head coach, your progression has just been like that. So it's been good to watch.
Absolutely.
I'm going to press you for we'll start with positive. If you can think of like the 2 most positive things over the last 9-10 months in your current role, your previous role as in a coach and a head coach, what would they be?
Just positive experiences.
Just things that stand out to you.
I think it's just my own personality going out. Like the fact that I can just address people like kind of very openly, like, and not even in the gym, but even if I just met someone new down the street there, I think it just helps that I can just open up fairly easily to everyone now, and I can strike up conversations a lot more easier because you're talking to a group of people every day. So
a positive is like your ability now to converse because you're in that everyday class.
Absolutely. I think that's a major like personality kind of just change and stuff like that. Like you can be really open already, but you have to get the hours kind of worked into it.
Reps.
Like, the reps worked into it, like literally to get used to it.
Anything else?
Another positive, I'd say just the sheer fact of responsibility now in terms of being in a head coach role. I think I do get a bit of a buzz out of it, to be honest, like because it is a bit more of a higher up sort of thing. You're seen as a bit of
responsibility.
But like that sort of thing, like I know it's like the pressure is kind of on you, but it's not really pressure. It's just kind of like that feeling, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's not positive really. It's just more of just like a buzz.
Well,
like.
I'm gonna press you for 2 not so good things or maybe negatives over the last 9-10 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of like your current role, the coaching role, things that were like, that stand out as to like, that wasn't so pleasant maybe, if there is any. Because I think it's important that like when we're doing these, we don't just give all the good stuff.
Yeah, not everything's perfect.
I'm going to press you for like the not so good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well. Like I think when I first started with Chris in Bansha, it was initially like, I think the hours, like in terms of the roster, and I wasn't used to like waking up at certain hours and stuff like that, like really early and stuff like that. So I was just kind of adapting to it, but I kind of ended up getting quite tired and like, I wouldn't say run down, but I was just kind of getting quite tired by the end of the week, and I was like, I nearly needed a whole weekend to just reset again and stuff like that. But nowadays it's actually grand. I've gotten kind of really adapted to it.
So do you feel like your capacity to handle the work has increased?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
And just to add to that, like coaching it takes a lot of energy.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Bansha starts at 6:45 a.m. So you need to be there at 6:30ish or just after. Yeah. You're probably up at 5:30 maybe.
Yeah.
And then you're giving energy all morning to clients.
Yeah.
So it can take a while to adapt to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
I thought that, it's a very quick turnaround in Tailormade in terms of 6:45 session is done, you're straight into the 7:30. Like,
there's no breather.
You have a time to literally, you might reflect, but like if someone comes in 5-10 minutes early and they're already on the bike, it's not as if you can just take a breather. You're onto them, you're talking to them, you're seeing how they are. So it's very much a go thing, but at the same time, I think it helps to develop you a lot better. It was just initially, I remember, I was like,
floored.
This is madness. Like, this is kind of going, this is going, and this is going, and this ain't stopping. Like, but I would say that it was a bit of a negative in terms of like, it just kept on coming, and then you're kind of like, you kind of just have to keep, even though you could be tired, you could be drained, you could be like, you could have done all the other sessions this morning, and like you're coming in for the evening and stuff like that, and you have a split shift and you're coming in for the evening, and you still have to put on that show. Like in terms of like, I had a good conversation with Chris about this. Like sometimes you might have 8 people in front of you, but you could easily just have 8 different personalities that you have to express. So I could have 8 separate conversations, but I could literally have to address something extremely happy, someone is having a laugh, someone's really sad, someone's not feeling it, someone's doing this, and you just have to adapt all in that in 45 minutes. And once they're gone, the next group just comes straight in, and then your brain just has to reset again and go again.
I think this is I love talking about this because I think the general population don't value coaching and personal training as much as I want them to value.
Yeah.
I think they look at GPs and medical professionals and they put them up here,
and
they see fitness professionals down here.
Yeah.
But I think to hear from a fitness professional who's providing a really good service to a cohort of people out in Bansha, how much energy we have to give to make sure that somebody has an enjoyable 45 minutes or an hour session is a lot, and I think it's just worth chatting about. So
absolutely.
I'm going to press you. Is there anything else kind of negative that stands out for one more, and then we can move on?
Any sort of bad negatives? No, to be honest, I've absolutely loved working. So there wasn't really any.
I didn't pay him to say that.
No. So I would say like sometimes you can feel a bit kind of, I won't say overwhelmed, but it kind of ties back into the first point with some points with regards to even like taking a week off or something like here and there and stuff like that, like with holidays or something like that. I remember if I was to take a week off, or I'd be like, oh, I'm going away on holidays, I have like 2 or 3 people joking at me, being like, sure, you're always on holidays anyway, sure, like you're at nothing anyway. Like,
this is members?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm kind of like, I just laugh and joke, but inside I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, fair.
And that brings me to my point. It's like people don't understand what it's like to coach 4, 5, 6 sessions in a row with 8 people in it. It is really cognitively tiring. So it's...
Yeah, no, and like I know they're only messing and stuff like that, but it just can be just like, like, or they'll be like, sure, aren't you always off? Like you're never here, and I'm just like, I am, like.
Okay, favorite aspect of the job? Quick fire.
I think this is an obvious answer, but it is the progressions. So the ladder or something, like to I know how you said quick fire, so I'm trying to answer as quick as I can.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, no, it's just trying to progress through the ranks and stuff like that.
Okay.
I think that's my favorite. Like that's the biggest aspect, like what you can see for the future.
Class.
I think in terms of interaction, it's massive. Like I think you need to be. I think as you tied into what you said in terms of finding people for your own, like hiring for people that, like any coaches or anything like that. I think, as you said, it's the kind of that aspect of personality, and then the skill set is kind of second and stuff like that, and develop it like that. So I think that's a big aspect, like the biggest aspect. Yeah.
Least favorite aspect of the job?
Oh, great question. What I'd say is, I don't think this would ever happen, but what if this like just all fell on itself in terms of
the business?
as in the business or the fitness industry itself.
It happened in COVID in 2020.
Yeah, it could easily fall apart again. So that's why I'm saying that would be the least favorite aspect. Like obviously that's the worst case scenario and stuff like that. Or if something can't function or something can't run, then you kind of have to go, okay, well, we'll have to shut up like there.
Yeah.
And
you know what? That's a good point, because that did happen to us.
Yes.
Right? We had 2 gyms at the time, 8 staff, and we had to
cut everything out.
So it's like what you said at the very start as well. It's like that's the doomsday scenario which happened, that we made it through.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And just to say that as well, I think with the development of things with AI and stuff, I do think that there's a lot of careers and jobs that will become less relevant.
Yes.
Right? I can't see that happening for the fitness industry.
No.
I think people are becoming, this is just my perspective on it,
Yeah.
I think people are becoming way more conscious of their health. There's
Yes.
people now joining gyms like us that would have never done it.
Yes.
Ever.
Absolutely.
Like Tasha's behind the camera and her dad is in Bansha.
Yeah.
But I think he's never been to a gym ever. But like, it's people of that generation and younger that are really getting into it.
Absolutely.
And then as well, with social media, although social media is meant to be social, it actually makes people less social.
Yes, absolutely.
So actually what we do as creating a community, coaching environment, one-to-ones, building relationships, coupled with fitness, I'm just looking at trends because I look at the US and Australia.
Yes.
The trend is this.
Yes, absolutely. I do think that the fitness industry is massive. Like it is growing, and it's literally taken like the last couple of years for people to kind of spike it up a small bit. And it's crazy, like you'll have these trends like a couple months ago it was all running. Everyone's running during the summer, everyone's doing this, everyone's doing that. Now everyone's talking, like in the last couple of months, it's all about high rocks and stuff like that. So it's all about what's the next fitness trend and stuff like that. And I think, as you mentioned there about the social aspect, like you can chat with people, you can interact with other people, even in your own neighborhood, people that you wouldn't even talk to if you walked past them in the street, but now you're having coffee with them after the session.
And we see that here as well. Like a group comes in and they don't know each other. They both down for coffee. It happens in Federt.
Yeah.
I'm sure it happens in Bansha as well.
It does, yeah.
It's unreal.
So it's massive, like, and I think when it comes to, you know, how online coaching is kind of sort of coming up as well as the fitness industry itself, I think that takes away any sort of social aspect. And fair dues to anyone that is doing the coaching or is getting coached by someone online. It's tough for that social aspect to function at that stage.
It is 100%.
Yeah.
Brilliant. We'll move on to talking about clients. Can you tell me about your favorite client testimonial and why that one? Or like favorite result that you've been a part of and why that one? You can mention the person by name if you think they wouldn't mind. If you don't, just give an idea.
Absolutely. I think when someone comes in the gym and you know it's going to be a great session, or you know they're going to nearly make your day, like sort of thing, I think that's how powerful they are. Like I think it's the kindness of a person, and they're willing to. They're so well driven. Like for a person to not come into the gym before, or very little gym experience, to progress so quickly, to constantly want the next thing, and then it becomes a stage where everyone wants to be that person now. And I'll say it now, it's all about Tammy.
Okay.
Tammy Marr in Bansha, like, to be honest.
Tammy's definitely going to watch this, because I'm going to send it to her.
I hope Tammy watches this, because I genuinely think she's literally been, like, she's
a role model, isn't she?
She's an honest to God role model in both the fitness industry itself, but just as a social person, like in terms of being a mother as well. Like,
Mama, 4 kids. just gets it done, no excuses,
Absolutely.
so positive.
Absolutely. Like, I think that's
We love you,
just
Tammy.
Absolutely. She, as I said, it makes the session when she's there and stuff like that. And she's always wanting to progress. She's always wanting to progress. And then when people are talking about what they want as their goals, they're like, I want to be like Tammy. I want to be like her, because she's set the bar. Like, she's kind of like that person to look up to. And she might not even think that about herself, but I think she's just been so fantastic, like, in terms of her own development as a person in the fitness industry, but as a person in general. Like, so absolutely.
I actually think Tammy could be a really good personal trainer.
Absolutely. I think she could easily, like, we'll get her through the interview process or something when the next gym opens.
And I actually saw on Instagram, Tammy put up her year progression on pull-ups.
Yes.
Which was really cool to see as well.
Yes,
so,
absolutely, yeah.
We might be able to get some B-roll or something like that. Yeah. Brilliant. We'll move on to a little bit about your training philosophy, right?
Yes.
So I think in Tailormade, we've 18 staff members at the moment, and everybody, like, fitness is such a broad term. Like, you've Gavin loves the powerlifting side of things. You've got Dylan Mack, who's into, like, bodybuilding stuff. And then you're playing rugby, Chris and myself play GAA.
Yeah.
We have a big spectrum of people.
Yeah.
So what would you say your training philosophy is in terms of fitness, longevity, life, like, just...
Yeah, I think it was always to be the best version of yourself.
Okay.
It was always to be the best version.
Like
so in terms of how much you're going to be lifting or how quick you're going to lift it, I think that could be specific to whatever sport you're playing, like be it rugby, GAA or anything like that. Initially when I was training, it was kind of like, for rugby, I was like, let's lift as much weight as possible and let's get strong and let's get fast and stuff like that. Whereas in terms of philosophy for a general population, for everyone, I think it just has to be the best version of yourself. I think
class.
You always want to, it kind of nearly ties back in towards Tammy, you always want to be nearly progressing. There's never a ceiling. There's never a point where, okay, I'm done. There's always something that you can always live up to, or you can always work up towards. And I think you'll be then a better version of yourself as a result. And that could mean Joe Soap down the road going up the stairs for the first time, or it could mean someone taking part in their first high rocks. It could be just so different in terms of disparity and stuff like that. I think as long as you're always constantly developing, and I think that's not even just, people always think it has to be the muscles, it has to be losing the fat, it has to be, I think the understanding of it, the understanding that I'm developing as a person as well, I'm interacting with people every day, I'm getting my fitness in, I'm having a bit of fun as well, and this is just a break from the family, break from life, school, work, kids and everything like that. I think it's always just a developmental thing. I think it's always just trying to be the best version of yourself. Just, as I said, there's never a ceiling, there's never a level that you're at the top or anything like that. You're always just trying to pick it up, you're always just trying to progress. And as I said, that's not just physically, that is also mentally, that's socially, because if I'm being honest, there could be a lot of aspects where people are coming into the gym and that's their only time to actually socialize with a lot of people, so it can be massive. So I think for their own developmental as well, to always be the best version of themselves, their best version of themselves is them being socializing with other people. Yeah,
I think that's brilliant. Something I'm very much aligned with is like always trying to be better continually, and there's no ceiling and it always ends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. I love that, Ricky. Okay, we'll move on. We want to give a bit of background as to what it's like to work at Tailormade.
Yes.
Could you describe the company culture? Tough question, but...
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's some buzz. Like, I think there's some buzz in
Describe
the
company culture, some buzz.
Some buzz, yeah. No, I think it is... Everyone is kind of on the same wavelength. I think there's no one that's like a standout or anything like that. There's like... For a word of a better one now, everyone's normal, like, everyone's like, that's how I'd put it, like, there's no oddballs or anything like that going around the company, because if there was, like, they wouldn't mix or anything like that, but like, you could even see when we all meet up or something like that as a big group for CPD, like, everyone's getting along, everyone can chat to each other, everyone really mingles well, and it's just a group of, it's a nice culture. Like we're all friends there, and it's like no one's left out or anything like that. Yes. And I think that's the most important thing in terms of a culture. I think that everyone's getting on well. I think everyone has the same or similar point in terms of they all just want to help. We're all wanting to help people, and as long as we have that kind of mentality, we will all work together to do that.
Yeah.
So I think that's our culture. I think some buzz is that sort of thing. Yeah.
I think that's great because like my philosophy on building a business is like I would hate to build a business with people I dislike.
Yes.
Like I just have this vision of, having a barbecue at my house with my family and bringing all of the team. And it's something that people, it's not like, oh, we have to go because it's a work thing. It's like, no, we want to go and enjoy each other's company. That's what I enjoy to do. So I'm happy that you feel that that's what the culture is like.
There's a thing, there's Razzie Erasmus, he's a South African rugby coach, and he said, for preparing for the World Cup, he did a team meeting and he said, surround yourself with the right people, not the best people, because the best people can always be dickheads and stuff like that. So as long as you surround yourself with the right people, you'll get the job done.
Class, love it. And I think we've got the right people on the bus.
Absolutely, yeah.
Can you describe the support and development opportunities at Tailormade in your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Like even recently of myself transitioning to a head coach role, like I'm always behind, like I'm being supported by Gavin behind the scenes. Gavin and yourself, like behind the scenes, like just to, if I needed anything, it's always just a phone call, it's always a message, it's always a voice note away. And there isn't a scenario where like I'm going to be ignored. I'm never going to be ignored. I'm going to be hopefully addressed and everything is going to be sorted, and it always is. So that's the sort of support, and that kind of goes down towards then the supporting of the coaches as well, like in terms of if there's an issue, they can talk to me or they can talk to another head coach or anything like that. It's always supported. Like it's not like we're leaving one person behind and all of us are just going for it, like and stuff like that. I think you're better off having everyone in the loop and going forward than having only 2 or 3 going forward and everyone else kind of confused as to what's happening. So there isn't really like a massive hierarchy in terms of like I'm better than you and all this or anything like that. So it's a real good positive outlook that we're all here to support each other for the business and for ourselves. But it's just to progress as well. Like
brilliant. What are you most excited about your future career with us or future career aspirations?
Yeah, absolutely.
What excites you the most?
The mystery maybe of it all, because I haven't a clue. Just because I think that I still am developing. I'm still developing myself, and I would like to know do I want to know what I want in the future now or anything like that, but it'd be nice to take the steps forward and stuff like that. Where I am now is I'm in an excellent position, and I feel like, as I mentioned in the previously, like the hierarchy, not even hierarchy, but like the progression that you can go up towards in this company is massive. Like, as you said, there's no actual ceiling, like, so you can always be the better version of yourself even in this company, like, so I think that's what kind of is exciting. In my own future aspirations, as long as I'm happy and as long as I'm doing something that I love, I'm not too worried about. Yeah, I'm very, very much winning. I think you should be grateful for everything that you have in life.
Myself and Gavin are very much always going to drive forward because we very much believe in that, like, there's no ceiling in business and that we should always be pushing the boundary. And then, like, with the other people that we need to bring on along as we go forward, we have this thing that we say, it's like, we'll give you the rope and you'll either climb it or you'll hang yourself, one or the other. So it just
that's kind of morbid.
It is, but like it is. And we've done this with staff in the past that like you've given the opportunity, but you haven't climbed the rope.
Taken it,
What advice would you give to any aspiring coaches, personal trainers? Maybe they're 16, 17, 18 years of age, looking to get into the fitness industry. Maybe there's somebody in their 30s or 40s that are looking for a change of career.
Absolutely.
What advice would you give to aspiring personal trainers, coaches?
I think if you have a look at yourself and know what sort of a person you are.
Right.
Are you a real shy, kind of not as an outgoing person? Are you real kind of a shell of a person a lot of the time? You see a large crowd, you don't want to mingle with it or anything like that. Are you very nervous to do a lot of things around the place? Are you scared to talk in front of even a lot of people or at a function or something like that? I think maybe you just need to have a rethink there. Like, you can always develop your skills, but I think, as I touched upon, the right people, I think it's just about being an outgoing person, being someone that's real caring as well. You don't, just because you're outgoing doesn't mean you're actually nice. So you have to be also nice with that, because you have to be outgoing, you have to show compassion, you have to show that you understand people's perspectives. Obviously, you develop that a lot more when you get older and you see how people's lives go and you see how the adult life is and how the real world acts and stuff like that. So you kind of see what is the aspect. I think it's the same kind of concept, you're always developing. Like, in terms of a person who's coming into the job to start off or something like that, you will never know everything. And that's the same with myself, that's the same with yourself. You'll never know everything. And you're always going to be learning. And it's the beauty of it. I'd say everyone always says just go out there and get experience. I think that's brilliant. You also just need to have that sort of mentality to kind of be that right person in terms of being that outgoing, be that compassionate, be that caring person, because that's what's going to make the difference of people wanting to stay in your gym and people going off to the other gym.
Class.
What makes you different from everyone else? Because you have to be a small bit different, because otherwise people will just will hang you out to dry and they'll leave you and they'll go to a different gym. And I think you need to have that sort of level of compassion and
empathy as well.
Yeah, empathy, and absolutely just a cop on in your head, just to be outgoing as well, like to be open like that. Yeah.
Class. Love it. What would you say to somebody, obviously our plan, and we've shared it with you, is we plan on opening up 30 facilities.
Yes.
So we plan on going from 5 to 30, so we've big aspirations as a business, but we're going to be taking on lots of new coaches. What would you say to somebody who's maybe following us on Instagram like you did, that's maybe working in another gym, maybe doing something else, they're kind of thinking about applying for a role, but they haven't really done it?
Yeah.
What would you just from your experience say?
Absolutely, I'd say just go for it. I think what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Like, I think you have to you miss every shot that you don't take, like, so.
Kobe Bryant said that, I think.
I thought it was Wayne Gretzky.
Oh, was it? Sorry. We'll Google it and then you can crop it.
Yeah, absolutely. Prove who's right. But yeah, no, I think just go for it. See how you expose yourself to the company. I did not know what that company is going to be like until I came into the interview process fully, and I realized this company is a bit different. This company is something else, and it was class. It was a good thing, like that I actually went out and saw what it was like, because I could have easily just been humming and hawing about it and never actually put the pen to paper sort of thing. But once I actually did, it was actually brilliant. Like, I think that if you're thinking about it, just go for it. I think that doesn't apply just for Tailormade or a job or anything. It's just in life. Just see what's going to happen and what's the worst that can happen, and go for it. Absolutely, because you might not know, you end up loving it, like, at that stage. Yeah.
Love it. What would you say your biggest achievement in life to date is? That's a curveball.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was, I actually don't know, my biggest achievement in life. To find something that I am very happy to be doing.
Class. Because that's brilliant, because there's so many people miserable and wake up on a Monday morning going, oh no.
I genuinely don't know how that.
And you're 24 and you found that.
Yeah, I think to find something that you really love and you really enjoy, that, as I say, you can call it work, but it's not really work if you love it, sort of thing. That's massive, and I think a lot of people don't enjoy what they do. They don't enjoy their day-to-day life, and they just do it for the sake of either money or the sake of just doing it, or the sake of convenience or something like that. I think it is massive for you to try and find something that you really enjoy, because then it will pay off in the later years, like how you look back on the last 10, 20, 30 years and people realize, okay, I really, really struggled those last 10, 20, 30 years, like maybe I should have done something different, or geez, I really enjoyed those last 10, 20, 30 years.
Class.
And I really developed as a person. I really had a ball. I met so many people. I got on well with everyone. So I think that's a bit my biggest achievement so far.
Brilliant, that's excellent. I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask me something.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
there was a question that you wanted to ask me that you haven't had the answer to, what would it be? It could be on anything.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it would be to what is going on inside your mind in terms of both your outlook of the company and how realistic your outlook is versus real world.
Perfect.
That'd be
In
my
terms
question.
of the vision.
Yes.
So I'm quite competitive.
Yes.
Right? And I have a massive drive to always push the boundaries on what is possibly possible, right? Yeah. And like every time, like this is all through my life. So like we've opened one gym and everyone's like, oh wow, you've got it. And then we opened 2 gyms and people are like, then we opened 3 gyms. And then I was like, we're going to get 5.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, whatever. And then we do 5. And now I'm talking about 10 and people are asking me that question and they don't really believe it. But to me, it's just a staircase.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just like stacking daily wins one on top of the other.
Yeah.
Learning what I don't know, learning that stuff, and then that stuff becomes easy.
Yeah.
And then it's like looking for the next thing. And I think that that's just an inbuilt thing that I can't change. It's just an entrepreneurship, it's whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas running 5 gyms used to be difficult. Now it's actually quite seamless.
Yes.
Right? So this is me in my comfort zone now.
Yes.
Whereas 3 years ago, this would have been me scared off my fucking trolley lock.
Yeah, yeah.
So now I'm looking for the next thing, which is gym 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
And then we'll get there and the next thing will be easy. So
yeah.
I want to grow the biggest coaching brand in Ireland.
Yeah.
And by biggest, I mean by total revenue, by total of number of clients.
Yes.
And the figure, how I got to 30 is I reversed engineered it.
Yeah.
I looked at the country and I found the biggest fitness business was doing north of 20 million.
Yeah.
And then I backtracked it and I got the figure of if we can do 30 gyms, we can do that.
Yeah.
So if we get to 30, we'll be the biggest gym in Ireland, unless somebody passes us out by revenue, total members helped, number of coaches employed, and all the rest of it. How realistic is it? It's already done in my mind.
Yeah.
Other people might not be able to see it, but if we can do 5, we can do 10.
Yeah,
it's literally just 100% growth.
Absolutely.
So I'm very, very confident and excited that that's going to happen over the next 5 to 6 years.
Yeah. I think that's brilliant because I think it's what goes on in your mind versus everyone else's. As you said, when you open gym 2, you're like the next one's gym 5. Like everyone's kind of thinking, no way, like it can't progress like this, but then it does progress like that. I think if it's happened so well now, I think it can only pick up from here. And
I think that's the thing with entrepreneurs in general, like they seem crazy to normal people.
Yes.
And I get that a lot. It's like, you're actually nuts. And I'm like, yeah, I probably am to some degree, but that's just how I'm programmed. I know myself so well now that like I know this is going to happen. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I think it was just mainly looking at how the realism of it and the realistic value
Is it fantasy or is it, but it's actually something I've built.
Yes.
And I've reversed engineered it. I can see crystal clear how it looks, how the org structure looks, how our meetings run, how much money we need to do it.
Yeah.
It's all planned.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something that none of us have even thought about, or anyone else in the general public have ever even thought about. So I think as long as someone has that drive, and I think you won't let it fall apart. So
I think that's just who I am.
Yeah.
And I can't, not that I would want to change it, because I wouldn't want to settle for a mediocre life.
Yeah.
I'm happy that I'm like that. Yeah. Also, I understand how some people can't see what I see as well.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine, but we're going that way.
Perfect.
Last couple of questions. If you could pick somebody within the Tailormade team that you admire,
yes,
who would it be and why?
I would choose the man who mentored me through everything at
Class.
the start. It would be Chris McCullough. Like, he just put me through it. Like, he settled me in so well, got me into Bansha and stuff like that, and he kind of got me suited towards everyone, and I learned bucket loads from him. Like, the transition to go from coach to head coach was tough, but it was made so much easier by Chris, who kind of helped me throughout. And like, he's constantly messaging me just to even see how I'm getting on and stuff like that.
Class.
And even though he has his own place to run in Tailorless and stuff like that, he's always still looking out for me and stuff like that. and honest to God, he's been amazing to be working with and stuff like that. So
That's unreal. And the reason why I asked that question is I think sometimes people don't understand the impact that you can have by helping somebody else.
absolutely, yeah.
So brilliant. I think that's it. Ricky, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. If you're watching and you're maybe thinking about joining us as a client, please reach out, email us, contact us on Instagram. We would love to chat to you. If you're somebody that's looking for a career in the fitness industry or looking to join the Tailormade team, reach out to myself or Gavin or even Ricky or our email or Instagram. We would love to chat to you. Other than that, I think, Ricky, it's been a pleasure.
Cheers, Fionn.
Thanks a
Thank
million
you
for
very
having
much.
you.